Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am so excited you're here. I'm Hillary Mulick, a North Carolina-based wedding photographer, and here on my channel I share education for photographers on how to better streamline their businesses. And speaking of streamlining, today's topic is about how to take your current workflows that you have in place in your business, and with just a few small tweaks, that was hard to say, you can make them even more streamlined than they already are. So let's get started. So what is a workflow? Even if you don't know what a workflow is, you likely already have workflows in your business. You can have little mini workflows, you can have a really long workflow, you likely already have them in your business, because a workflow, all it is a step-by-step process in order to achieve something. So you could have a client onboarding workflow of you sending them their proposal and sending them their retainer, an email that goes along with that. That is their onboarding workflow. You could have a really long client workflow, especially wedding clients, because these workflows can last 6 months to 2 years depending on how far in advance they're booking you. So this workflow, I think my client workflow is like 20 steps or something like that. So this is every single little thing that happens, every email that is exchanged, every phone call that we have, my editing that I do, just everything that I do for this particular client, that's all in a workflow. So what we're gonna do today is I want you to pick one of these workflows, and I'm gonna help you tweak it just a little bit so that you can streamline it more. And what I mean by streamline is make it more efficient so that you're not spending as much time on this workflow as you currently are, and you're either getting that time back in your personal life, which is great, or you're getting that time back to be able to invest in other parts of your business that need that time more than this workflow does. So pick one of these workflows, and I want you to follow these steps. So the first thing I want you to do is I want you to list every single thing that you do for this client in this workflow. For an example, I'm going to be talking about my onboarding workflow. So this workflow starts when I get an inquiry from an inquiring wedding client interested in booking me for their wedding. And this workflow starts there and it ends with them booking me and becoming a paying client. So that's what this workflow is going to be. So for me, this is usually about a 2 email exchange. So it's me sending them an email in response, them getting a response back, or them sending me a response back, and then me sending them another email, maybe setting up a video chat or a phone chat consult, me sending them an online proposal that they can sign and fill out and pay. Then at that point, they've become an onboarded client. They are now a paying client, and so they have moved on to a different workflow in my business. So those are the steps that are my onboarding workflow. So whichever workflow you have picked, I want you to write down every single one of these steps that you take, and I don't want you to miss anything. So every single email, like general amount of emails. So think about when you're talking with clients or how many phone calls you have. Just list out every single thing that you do for this client in this workflow. The next thing I want you to do is I want you to add how much time each of these items are taking you. So let's say you have 2 or 3 or 4 emails that go back and forth between the client during some sort of process. Now I want you to write how much time it takes you to write those emails or to respond to these emails. How much time does it take you to prepare a timeline? How much time are you generally on the phone with them when you're talking about their timeline? How much time do you spend shooting their wedding? I mean, that's obvious because they've booked a certain amount of coverage with you. How much time do you generally spend culling and editing those images? Of course, all of these questions just depend on what type of workflow you're working with, but these are just some examples that I'm throwing out there. So after you've listed all the items of this workflow, I want you to list how much time it takes you to do each of these things, and then I want you to total it down below. So now you have totaled all of these things, and oh my gosh, did you realize you're spending that much time doing this? So when I first did this exercise, I was doing it for my onboarding workflow, and I thought, oh, that's gonna be easy. I probably spend maybe an hour onboarding a client, but it was way more than that, because the amount of time that I spent emailing a prospective client back and forth, amount of time I spent linking things for them and coming up with a sample timeline, and then doing a phone call consult with them, preparing a proposal and an invoice. It ended up taking way longer than I thought. I thought I would maybe only spent an hour, and it was a lot more. So I don't know if your number was as surprising as mine, but chances are it probably is. So you're spending a lot of time on this workflow, and you know what? You don't need to be. There's probably a couple things, even if you already feel like you're super streamlined and super efficient, there's probably a couple things that you could tweak to make it even more efficient and even more streamlined. So now that you know each of these items that are in your workflow and how much time it takes you to do each of these things, I want you to look back at this list and think of ways that you can maybe combine or eliminate any of these steps. So for example, when I was very first doing this exercise, going back to my workflow of onboarding a client, I was emailing with a client back and forth like between 5 and 10 times. And I thought, I do not need to be emailing a client quite that much. And then I looked back at my emails and I thought, what are we emailing about? We're emailing about they have certain questions that I haven't answered for them. They want to see full galleries that I didn't provide for them initially, and so now I have to send another email to link that. They want to set up a phone consult, and so I have to send a link for that. So these were all things that I was just doing a back and forth email about. Meanwhile, they are also speaking to other photographers who are more efficient and got that information to them quicker, and so they're probably going to move forward with those people and not move forward with me. So what I did is I decided to combine and eliminate as many of those steps as possible. So any questions that they were asking me, I just had an FAQ question that I added to my pricing page that had most common questions and answers that I have been asked over email, so that they don't have to email me about it. They can just look at my pricing page, get that information. In my initial email, and I've talked about this in a previous YouTube video that I can link down below, in my initial email, I send them 2 to 3 links to full wedding galleries that I have shot, so that they don't have to ask me for that. I also can provide a link for them so that if they want to set up a phone consult with me, they don't need to, because I try and include as much information as possible in my pricing page. But if they really want to talk with me on the phone, there's a link that they could click so that they can go and schedule a phone consult with me, and it has all of my availability already listed in there. I do that through the scheduling feature in Honeybook, my client management system. So that's another email that I've eliminated. They don't need to email me and ask to set up a phone consult. They just already have that link. So these are all ways that I was able to eliminate steps and combined all of these steps into one email instead of going back and forth with 10 emails. And that was a way that I was able to streamline my business and make it more efficient. So you have your list of all of the steps in your workflow in this process that you do in your business. You have all the timestamps listed there. You know how much time it takes to do each of these things. Now I challenge you to try and combine things. Think of creative ways that you can eliminate some of these steps. Make your job easier. Make it so that you're not spending quite as much time doing these steps that you don't really need to be doing. You can either have them automated or combine them with other steps just to make it easier so that you're getting your time back. And like I said earlier, you can either take that extra time and add it to your personal time, or you can take that extra time and just apply it to other parts of your business so that your business can grow and that you can book more weddings because of it. I hope this information was helpful. I hope it helped you learn how to better streamline your business and make it even more efficient than it already is. Helps you book more weddings, spend more time in aspects of your business that actually need that time, and less time in aspects of your business that doesn't need that time, because those things are automated, and maybe even have more personal time as well. I'm up for that as well. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again next week for another YouTube video. Bye guys.